Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about spiritual toxicity, toxic spirituality. Let's make it sound fanciful. So, yeah, we all know that it's not just possible, but it's also real. We have seen many examples of where spirituality and religion, have been used and are still being used to cause harm and destruction, in the world. But that's not the angle I'm coming from. The the way I want to look at it today, the angle at which I want to base my discussion, today is on spirituality. The new age spirituality per se. We're already aware of the of how religions can be toxic. We have a long history of that. But the new age spirituality now, also needs to be critiqued in the same manner. And I'm just talking from my own observations of what I am observing. Yeah. So, and I know it's natural. It's nothing new. It's nothing spectacular. It just needs to be said. So the first symptom, of toxic spirituality. When I say toxic spirituality, you understand what I mean by toxic. Something that's toxic is something that is harmful to a being, either a human being or any other kind of being. So if it doesn't promote your overall well-being, then it can be classified as toxic. So that's what I'm talking about. And number one, where it all starts from is a superiority complex. I'll just explain this one a little bit. I don't know if I have to go over my time today. Most likely I have to do that, so bear with me. A a superior complex. That's where it most starts with. That's where the spiritual ego goes to first. Now, remember, this is mostly an unconscious activity. In our bid to remove or eliminate what we term to be our ego, the ego that we believe has been keeping us asleep. In our attempts to bypass it or to eliminate it in one way or the other, the ego itself cannot be destroyed because it wasn't created by you, so you cannot destroy it. It's part of your being. So when you try to attempt to stifle it, what it does is that it moves to another domain, of our identification. So when you believe that you are now awakened and you identify yourself to be an awakened soul, the ego immediately goes to that your awakened identity and takes refuge there, because it can never go away. It's always going to be there with us. We were born with it, so it's not going anywhere. And that's what most people don't understand. And if you're not careful, if you're not aware enough, the ego will take over your spiritual identity. So you have what you call a spiritual ego now. So you're basically just acting out the same thing. Only this time you're using spirituality, to mask or to dress your ego, and that's what most people are doing. Not most, okay, a lot of people or whatever. I don't even know. I don't need to number it. I just know that it is there and it exists. You can feel it, and I know too that I have it, and I know that I'm also liable. I'm under, like, I can be tempted, to go that way. But I have to be aware, and not to go there because I know the ego is already there in my spirituality. So yes, that's what happens. The ego finds a way to infiltrate your spirituality, And of course, you start believing that you're superior to other people. You start believing that you are awakened and other people are asleep. You start believing that you are the light and that some other people are darkness. You start believing that your belief system, your thought process, um, your claim to knowledge, um, your subjective perception of yourself is superior to that of other people in the world. Some go as far as believing that they are God, while others, okay, not maybe not while others are not, but if you're God, that means everybody's God. If you came from somewhere outside the earth, then everybody also came from there because we're all from the same source. So, and I know some of the spiritual leaders, claim to have come from somewhere supernatural, so that they can have authority over their subordinates, basically. They need to have a supernatural power for them to be um, listened to, for them to have authority. And we have seen this over the course of history. It's nothing new, and we have seen such charismatic leaders, take people down a harmful path. And so that's what That's what I want to talk about today. It's very easy, to slide from that method of thinking, from that kind of ideology. It's very easy, to slide into tyranny or fascism or authoritarianism. But thankfully, we have the legal system, legal framework. We have the police. We have everything, in the physical world to help check those kind of excesses whenever they start occurring. So it's just great to observe that. And I've also observed, that the people in there are some kind of ideologies and teachings, that abound now, that have no care or respect for other people. And I've noticed that those people still, they, it's a kind of, it's a, how do I put it now? It's a selective ideology, because those same people that claim that they don't care about other people are still the same ones that care when their interaction involves somebody that they feel is superior to them, somebody that they believe is their teacher, someone that they believe is more knowledgeable than they are. Then they give that person respect. But if they feel that you're not on their level, then you don't get the same kind of respect from them. So it's normal human behavior, and it still has to do with that same spiritual ego again. It doesn't go away. It's always there. The ego always finds a way to take over, well, not to take over, but to influence whatever we are doing. And it's just good to understand that. Then we also have, along those same lines of teachings, I don't want to really mention any particular type of teaching. I don't even know which one it is here. There's what I call a kind of a one-sided identification, of our existence, of our being, knowing fully well, that we are physical and spiritual beings at the same time. It's difficult, to hold two opposing ideas in our minds at the same time. and that's the paradox of life. So some people, will choose because it's easier to just choose one polarity of existence and stay there. That's the either or. So it's either this or that. So they're either light or darkness, and most of our light workers, prefer to be um, the light, basically, not knowing that their actions and their beliefs too are considered as darkness to other people, and they fail to acknowledge that, or we fail to acknowledge that. So it's a polarized identification. So they stay on one side and say that they are the light, and when they are the light, that means they shine the light on the world or on the darkness of the world, and they're not part of the darkness in any way. Yeah, so we use that. Yeah, so when you have that kind of superior complex, it's easy to justify doing harm to people and saying harmful things to people, and outrightly disrespecting people, and maybe even going further to do other things that might bring harm to people, in the name of having a superior belief or having a superior spirit, or being more awakened or being more enlightened than the next person. Yeah, there's just a lot of concepts within the New Age spirituality that needs to be discussed, that needs to be challenged outright. A lot of people denying. There's a lot of denial, of the past. There's a lot of criminalization of the future, and there's a lot of glorification of the present moment. And if you look deeply into it, really, there's nothing like the present moment. There's no present moment. Life is fluid. Life is moving. You cannot hold any moment. There's no moment that is present. It's a process. It's a continuous process that keeps evolving. That keeps producing novel moments. So every single second, even every millisecond of a second, we have to keep dividing up the so-called time. Time is a concept itself that has been created to capture reality in different, I don't know what's called them, in different chunks or phases. And what we call the past, is already happening now. This is the past already, then this is the future. And this is the present moment at the same time. The past now becomes a memory that's stored somewhere. We don't even know where it's stored. We don't know how we store it. But the past is a memory of our experiences. It doesn't become reality again, and is subject to interpretation. It's a concept that's going to take a whole video, to try to explain what the past is. Then the future is our imagination, our expectations, of what is going to happen, and we don't even know if we are the ones creating the future, or if the future is already created, and we're just moving along a deterministic path or not. That's a long drawn argument in existential philosophy. So that's how it goes. That's how we have been moving. Then there's a concept called the present moment. This present moment what we call the present moment, we can't even capture the present moment, because it's not something you cannot hold it. You cannot. It's not. It's fluid. It's moving. It's a process. So we're just moving with it. But what I understand as beautiful about the concept is that, you know, we should just focus on uh, on events as they're happening now, which is okay. But you know, present as a form of time, you know, is still another abstraction that's not real. Because time itself is not real. It's not in reality. Reality doesn't really observe time. We created that time, but it's useful and it has its uses. And um, but most times, you know, if for our own um, for our in the moment experience, you know, it really doesn't count. And that is my submission for today. That was quite a deep observation. It's just my thoughts, you know, on what is happening based on my own lived experience, based on the reality that I'm seeing, you know, my own felt domain of immediate experience, according to Terence McKenna, the felt presence of immediate experience. So as I experience things, I try to explain them, yeah, in the best way I can. And that is the direction I'll be taking from now on, moving forward, so we can have a more healthy discussion around what is going on. So thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.